that look right there.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me. I wanted to first ask you, what's been your favorite speech or panel discussion that you've been to so far?
Well, I'm really excited about what we're doing right now, which is
Yeah.
the Republican National Hispanic Assembly.
Yeah.
This is the California chapter that's meeting right now.
Right.
And I think for many years, and even more so obvious this past election, the importance of having a Hispanic or Latino presence in the Republican Party.
Right.
It's been a love-hate relationship throughout a long time with Latinos and Republicans. Sometimes they come out and they do support Republican candidates, like they supported Bush, they supported Arnold, they supported Ronald Reagan, but a lot of times they don't. So what we're trying to do is find a way to have more consistency within the Hispanic community, reach out and make sure that Latinos are represented, make sure that the core principles of the Latino community are represented in the Republican Party, which they already are one and the same, but there's a huge disconnect between a Latino family's way of thinking and living doesn't necessarily translate to the polls the same way. I think the overwhelming majority of Latinos are very conservative people. They're very pro-business, small government, but that doesn't translate well in the polls. Um, some of it is our fault. Matter of fact, a lot of it is self-inflicted wounds. A lot of the rhetoric that the party uses, sometimes it's lack of leadership, but it's our job as being part of the RNHA here in California and part of a greater national organization to bridge that gap, to force the agenda, to make sure that there's a permanent change, to make sure that, and really that doesn't mean that we're changing anything. We're just playing matchmaker, so to speak, so that the principles, the values of the Latino community are accurately reflected at the polls.
Right.
You know, when they vote, because a lot of times they'll even vote for candidates that not in the long run hurt their community, but because they happen to be of the other party or of the same ethnicity, they'll vote for that person.
I'm curious what issues you see as good issues or bad issues. I know the immigration issue has obviously been very controversial, and I think there was a poll recently that said that issue has made it harder for some Latinos to support the Republican Party. But I'm interested in what you think of that issue and other issues that might be more.
Sure. The immigration issue is a very complicated issue, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, the curious thing is that if you were to poll the Latinos, which our organization did, found that 70% agree that illegal immigration is a problem. So it's a known issue. No one's denying it. No one's running away from it. What our problem as Republicans is twofold. One is that we've let the other side dictate the terms of engagement. We've allowed them to make it the number one issue, and every time there is some kind of an immigration reform attempt to try to paint us as the bad guys. Even though, if you look at history, the Republican Party has always been the one who supports immigration reform. Democrats have never supported immigration reform. But now somehow we've allowed them, via the media, via their spin machine, whatever you want to call it, they're making us. Well, that's one side. The other side is obviously the rhetoric that comes out of our party at times, like I was saying earlier, is a hindrance. So you put the two together, and yes, we are having a hard time because of those two issues right there. So, but they are fixable. It's going to take work. It's going to take work from like people who are inside this room right now to take out that message and keep fighting back. And you know, this is a house-to-house fight, and that's what it's going to take.
Do you see any Republican Latino candidates upcoming that might be taking?
There are always,
statewide
you know, and
offices,
that's the sad thing is that there are Latino candidates, Republican Latino candidates coming out constantly, but we never get any kind of national or media attention or recognition. They instantly get written off like we don't even. Let me give you an example of how I don't know if it's conscious or unconscious. I really don't know. I'm not gonna say a statement that may or may not be true. But for example, right now I saw someone from the media come in and stand at this room, and they were ready to go inside, start filming, start doing their thing. But when they realized that it was Republican Latinos that were getting here together, they just said, "Oh, it's Republican Latinos," and instantly just turned around and walked the other
You're
way.
kidding.
Yeah,
Wow. Do you know which media outlet it
I,
was?
you know what, I don't know. I really don't. I just saw the press credentials
Yeah.
in the back of their heads, and I just heard them. So I'm like,
Right. So it's not a story
it is very, very biased. There is a natural bias. Yes, there are candidates, and we do have elected officials, and we'd like to see more of them. Bonnie Garcia came out and won. Abel Maldonado, rumor has it, he's going to continue his political career. Hopefully, he'll be successful. There's going to be, as time goes on, you will see more and more, because I think the party is slowly starting to re-embrace the relationship that has been there in the past between Latino community and the Republican Party.
Excellent. Um, and I wanted to maybe get your opinion on kind of the hot issue of the weekend, which is this debate or discussion over the primary endorsement rules. Do you have a strong opinion either way on that? Or?
I think it's a healthy debate,
Yeah.
and it's ongoing.
Yeah.
I think that because of the newness of it, there's goods and bads in both of it. Um, my ultimate concern is that our voices be heard, that the voice of the electorate be heard. Um, and I think that should be first and foremost our ultimate goal, because that is our job, is to represent our constituents.
Right. I was wondering what you see in the future for the Republican Party in California specifically. I mean, we talked about it in terms of the Latino vote, but just generally 2012 and beyond. And especially with the budget negotiation ongoing.
Well, we are in a very tough economical time. That is, the problems in California are what I like to call structural. Window dressing is not going to fix the problems California has. I would like the party to be once again an advocate for the common man, like it used to be an advocate for the taxpayer, the family, and I really hope that they learn their lesson and realize that the rhetoric, how you say something, is just as important as what you say, especially in politics. I'm really hopeful that the next generation of leadership will keep us grounded in our conservative principles, but knowing that as we move forward, different challenges will come, and if they listen to their electorate, if they listen to the grassroots people, the Tea Party, the RNHA, if they listen to all the people, I think they'll be fine. If they don't listen to the people, then obviously they're going to run into some trouble.
Do you have a favorite presidential candidate yet for 2012?
I really don't. I mean, I think it's a little too early. Although it's if you want to run for president, now is when you make up your decision, because you're going to have to start doing the fundraising, the everything. You have to have your game plan already set, and you basically have to have fought the battle 10 times over before you actually go in it. I do like I like Mike Huckabee. I think he has a very nice even keel. I think he's the type of mature leadership this country needs, could use. I think it's a little bit too early for Marco Rubio, although the person we have sitting in the presidency only had 6 months of experience in the Senate. Marco Rubio had 10 times the experience that Obama has had, because he was a House Speaker. Now he is a senator at the state, at the federal level. Proven leader everywhere, he's gone. So if he were to declare, I'm not really sure that he would not win, even as crazy as it sounds right now. But I do know there's a lot of movement. Everyone is just waiting for him to run, and they're just waiting for the right time. Much like when Reagan was running, everyone was waiting for the right time for him to run.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to